attractive to
we
gunmen?
We certainly are. You know, God knows we certainly are. I mean, here and around the world, we're seeing things that in places that we once considered to be sacred and peaceful to becoming massive crime scenes. I think that the phenomenon here is from 2012, 2013 on, we started to see the emergence of the active shooter. But then over the last 2 years, this incredible focus on houses of worship. That to me is a perplexing phenomenon because we have to narrow it down. There's always an intent, no matter what. There's always an intent. But why we're seeing this at houses of worship, absent a deliberate hate crime, that's the part that still has a big question mark around it.
And most certainly in the South, and not to say that churches all around the country and the world aren't important, but especially in the South, it's a big to-do thing where you have some denominations and some churches, even when I was growing up, you're in church all day from sunup to sundown,
Sure.
but it was most certainly a day where you knew you would be safe. You didn't have anything to worry about. You go to Sunday school, go to church service, you go eat, then you go home for a little bit, and you go back to church. But now you're seeing situations like this unfold, and not necessarily in a major city. These are small town cities, small America, and
Exactly.
It's happening.
And DeMarco, we're looking at a time right now when you've got pastors that are armed, you have ushers that are armed, you have police departments working with local churches and synagogues and mosques during their most important holidays to protect their congregation. I mean, did we ever think we were going to get here? I don't know. But we're certainly here. There's no question about it. Law enforcement, security becoming permanent fixtures inside our houses of worship in this country.
All right, you said it better. Paul Violas. Paul, thank you, and I'm sure we'll be speaking with you before the evening is over with. Thank you.
My pleasure, DeMarco.
All right, folks, let's go and take you now back to our coverage from our CBS affiliate there in San Antonio, KENS 5, for the latest update as we continue to wait on this press conference where we are expected to hear from Texas Governor Greg Abbott along with state, local, and federal authorities. Let's listen in.
Act our thanks to law enforcement for their response. More details from DPS soon. And obviously it's an evil act. People not thinking this could happen at a church. They probably thought this was one of the safest places they could be. Obviously that's not the case.
And as Phil mentioned, this is a very small rural town, 700 people. There are only a handful of gas stations, reportedly only 2 gas stations in this town. It's located about 30 miles east of San Antonio, near La Vernia. And there has been an overwhelming amount of response from multiple agencies. That includes the Guadalupe County, Wilson County, and the FBI, including the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center. They are actually helping the victims in the shooting. They've sent blood to local hospitals, as you would imagine, to these victims who are undergoing surgery.
Again, you're taking a live look from the Stockdale City Hall where the news media is staged. We're waiting to hear from law enforcement to get some more details about this tragic shooting. We know that the Texas Department of Public Safety is spearheading this investigation. At least that's what we've been told initially. We know the FBI is on scene assisting, as well as the ATF. Multiple agencies responding to this as it initially unfolded, including the Wilson County Sheriff's Office, even the Texas Game Warden responding. We know that one game warden and a Wilson County Sheriff's deputy were among the first to make entry into the church after the shooting happened. We're told that the shooter had already left the scene, but a group of first responders immediately set up a triage center, and another game warden arrived and helped the Guadalupe County Sheriff's Office chasing the gunman. Again, we know the shooter is dead. We don't know if he was shot and killed by law enforcement or if he shot and killed himself. We're waiting to get those details from law enforcement.
And at least 20 people were fatally shot. We first heard it was 15, but we know now that it is more than 20 people who have died in this shooting. And dozens of family members are still outside the church. We have a reporter there at the City Hall who has talked to those family members of these victims. And as you can imagine, they're just devastated. They're devastated and traumatized about what has happened. Again, there is help. People have been just been responding on Facebook, on social media, just sending their prayers. That reporter spoke with the former associate pastor of the church, and he is just urging everyone to send prayers.
Yeah, for those that don't know much about this town, which more than likely you don't because it is such a small town, Sutherland Springs is about 30 miles southeast of San Antonio. It's in Wilson County. Wilson County itself is a small, not very populated county. Sutherland Springs is about 700 people. A member of the church told our reporter, Sue Kalberg, that this 11 a.m. service would typically see about 40 to 50 members. So the fact that at least 20 people have been shot and killed and more than a dozen others injured, I mean, this tragic event wiped out at least half of the people that were there for the church service. So again, we're waiting to confirm just how many people were killed, how many people have been injured. We do know at least 17 people are here in San Antonio receiving the trauma care that they need. 9 people at University Hospital, 5 adults, 4 children. Another 8 patients are at BAMC. We don't know the ages of all of the victims. We don't know what condition all of the victims are in. But that's what we're hoping to learn in the coming moments as we're waiting. We're standing by for this press conference to start. We probably won't get all the answers we'd like to get today. Obviously, it's an ongoing investigation. A massive scene of this caliber, you can imagine that law enforcement are going to be there in Sutherland Springs for days to come, weeks to come, trying to figure all of this out and trying to piece this horrible puzzle together.
So as you just heard, that the mass shooting had occurred this morning. This is at Sutherland Springs at the First Baptist Church, and the shooter himself is dead. He's been identified, as you just saw on the video, and of course we don't know as if he committed suicide or he was shot and killed by law enforcement. That's still undercover in investigation. So brothers and sisters, we as Bible students know that prophecy is being fulfilled, that we are truly living in the last days, that we're living in a time in which men are being possessed by demons, as we're told from Testimonies for the Church, Volume 9, pages 11 to 13, that they'll be taking the lives of many men, women, and children, and even those that are considered to be weak and old, and that these things will happen in these last days. And we as God's people know that the end is near, yea, even at the doors. So as we see these things happening, what are we doing in preparation for the times which we're living in right now? Are we just to sit here and just say all these things are just the norm now? We can just live about and be at peace and just say peace, peace, when really there is no peace dwelling on the earth? Oh no. We must be about our Father's business and do the work that God Himself has entrusted unto us to finish the work of preaching the gospel to all the world for a witness to all nations the end may come. Time is short, and we need to get ready, be ready, and to stay ready. So this is just only to keep you updated as to what things are happening around the world. And this just shows that truly God is trying to wake us up from our spiritual slumber, and that we will make thorough preparation for Christ is soon to come. So I pray that you will all continue to pray without ceasing, that you will study your Bibles, and that you will prepare yourselves both now and what is soon to come in the future. So may God help all of us that will make our calling and election sure and do all in our power to follow the will of God and follow Christ whithersoever He goes, because death can come at any time. And the next time there may be a mass shooting, it might be myself, it might be you, it might be any one of us. Be ready and be prepared. God bless. Maranatha, the Lord is coming.